are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. I'm really happy to meet you again
Yeah.
on the podcast. Thank you again for sharing your story. You receive a lot of message after the French version,
Yes.
and today we're gonna record the English version.
Yeah. Exciting.
To start, can you present yourself in few words, please?
Yes. All right. So my name is Lorraine. I've been living in Australia for 12 years. I came for the first time 15 years ago and I found love here. So it's one of the reasons why I came back to Australia. It's a place I love with all my heart, and I was already in love with the country, and then I fell in love with an Australian, and then the Aussie way of life, really. And I continued my life journey here. So I officially chose to be an expat, and I have been here for more than 10 years now.
So nice. So you say like you found love in Australia.
I did.
So can you tell us how you met your love?
Yeah, all right. So my love was, his name was Russell. And the way that I call him Russ, the way that Russ and I met was kind of a chance encounter. It all happened organically, and meaning that we didn't really find each other via an app. It wasn't really available at the time. Like there was no app. And I originally came to Australia for 6 months, so I was not really looking for anything specifically. I was coming as part of my studies in France, and I was here to complete an internship, so I was really focused on that aspect of my life at the time. And the goal for me was really to get some working experience overseas, learn more about Australia culturally at work, but also outside of work. And I really wanted to take advantage of the experience of living and working here. So that meant living in the city, kind of getting to know people that were living in the city, so like Sydney siders, and exploring the neighborhoods and behavior and getting a bit of a grasp of how life was for someone living here, but also going beyond and traveling with the country. Now, how did I meet Russell? I arrived here in 2010, in February. I was 19 at the time, so I was kind of a bit of a baby. And I had been dreaming about coming to Australia since I was young. I was having numerous conversations with my parents to let me go on a plane and discover Australia. The deal was that I get the equivalent of my high school certificate, and if I had good grades, then they would let me go on a trip.
And sorry, but do you remember why, or do you know why you were attracted for
Yeah, why
Australia?
did I want to come to Australia? I don't know, but when I put it together, when people ask me to share why my love of Australia and what brought me here, it was after the Olympics. So think about the Olympics, like we saw Sydney on TV. At the time when I was in school, you had to do a bit of expose on different cultures, and like that was for my English classes. So I had chosen the topic of Australia. So I kind of like got cultural facts about Australia. So the landscape of Australia, the thing that it's a big country, but also talking about the cultural, like the pop culture. So what are the movies about Australia, or what is the music about Australia? So then the Australia movie with Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman was out at the time, and I thought it was a really beautiful country and also storyline. And there was also Kylie Minogue, and I like Kylie Minogue as an artist. And then so when you put all of that together, I was like, well, Australia seems to be a really cool country. It's really far away. And I had that thirst for adventure. My family has been traveling. My mom and my auntie were travel agents. And so it has been kind of like part of my DNA in some aspect. And I really loved speaking English. I knew it was something that I wanted to do after I graduated from high school. Don't know if you can call that a graduation, but after I completed high school, I knew I wanted my studies to be lingual, and to learn other culture and other languages. So I was very much into English and Spanish, and I still am. And then I learned a few other bits and pieces of language after that. But I wanted to discover myself, but I also wanted to discover other people because I thought that would help me grow as an individual.
Yeah. So let's go back to the
All
story
right,
time.
let's go back to the story time and to the love story. So I arrived in February 2010, and I think I met Russell shortly after that. We saw each other, met actually at a nightclub. We didn't really hit it off. We were just talking as two strangers, getting to know each other. For the fun story, it was at the time I was doing my internship, and I was living with a flatmate who was an Italian, very socialite, and she wanted to go out on a Friday night. I was exhausted from my internship because it was long hours. I was working in sales. There was a lot of pressure. But at the time, we had bonded with my flatmate and another of us. It was three of us in the same flat. The other flatmate was not available to go out. So my Gloria, and thank you, Gloria, for having this wonderful idea of going to a nightclub on that Friday night, was really pushing me to go. Can we go out? I need to go and dance. I need to have fun. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, I just wanted to have dinner and chill in front of the TV, but I'll go and have fun with you. And then we got to the bar, and she could tell that I was not necessarily in the mood to party or like have a big night, but she wanted to spice things up a bit. And she said, okay, let's do a challenge and let's go together towards a race of like the girl that gets the most drinks from stranger is gonna win. I was like, okay, but I work in sales. You're gonna have to give me a strict KPI or a strict objectives or goal. When do you want it done? Like, how long do I have to do that? And then she was like, well, let's give it an hour. I was like, okay, fair enough. She hooked up, or she got close or flirted with a guy, and I could see that guy had, like, he was there with his friends, and I might have caught the eye of one of his friends, and we really started just talking together. At the time I was smoking, and he wanted to grab some cigarettes out of me. So the deal that, like, kind of the trade-off that we made was, okay, I'll give you cigarettes if you get me drinks.
Nice.
But yeah, so Gloria, while she was kind of flirty with the other guy, Luke, if you listen to us, Luke and Gloria were kind of kissing while I was talking, and I was having free drinks, and he was smoking with me, and we were just chatting. But there was really I wouldn't say that there was no chemistry, but we didn't look into it. Like, we were just like...
Yeah. Two people that met
Yes.
in a party and
Yeah.
just talk together.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were just like talking, like, hey, what do you do here? Where are you from? Like, where are you working? What are you going to do this weekend? Really chit chat. Like, nothing, like, it was small talk, but I was really standing and like going dancing with her from time to time, but then just chilling, but I was just chilling in the bar instead.
Yeah.
So that worked out fine. And then towards the end of the night, we wanted to go home. When she said, I'm tired, let's go home, I was like, yay, finally. And the guys were ready to go back home or go somewhere else. So they left at the same time as us. Now, the bar where we were at is called Cargo. It's one of the kind of like big bars in Sydney, like if you want to party or whatever. But the reason why I'm saying that, it's on the quay, like it's on the waterfront, so you can walk around, and we walked from the Cargo bar to the IMAX, so we had a bit of a short stroll together. And then we were living at the time in Pyrmont or Ultimo, so we would steer right, while they were living in the North Shore, so they would head back to the city and kind of like take the train or taxi or whatever. And so they were going left, we were going right. We said goodbye. She said goodbye to him. She got his number. I just said goodbye to Russell. I don't think at the time I knew what his name was. Maybe we had exchanged names, but I just don't recall.
Yeah.
And it didn't really register. Like, I wasn't really looking for...
Yeah, because it was just a guy you met and you didn't remember.
Yeah, like, I was like, I don't think I'm going to see you ever again, so whatever.
But
life. So Gloria, a couple of weeks after that, says, hey, I found the friend of Luke who were like on Facebook. Maybe you should chat to him. And I was like, oh yeah, actually, I could have a friend, like have an Australian friend showing me Sydney and showing me the city, or like telling me more about his culture. I was really into, I want to learn more from him, but I was no way thinking that it would evolve into a relationship, which it did. And it was like the strongest relationship in my life and a pivotal relationship. And I never really realized how big of an influence he would have on me. So I message him and I say, hey, it's the French girl you met at the bar. I don't know if you remember me. I'd like to maybe like chat with you or, you know, get to know each other and maybe like go for a drink or whatever. But no intention of flirting or dating or anything.
Just the guy you met and you want to have some discussion with him and discover his country and his culture, and that's nice.
Yeah, that's it. Like a cultural exchange. Think of it that way. And then he responds back and he said, yeah, totally remember you. Can even hear your accent when you're typing this message to me. And I was like, bang, I've got an accent, which I've worked on hard not to have anymore. But I do have a bit of an hybrid accent, I think. But anyway, we meet, and on that night, there's some chemistry that's going on. We go to another bar, and it's so funny because I feel like our relationship is punctuated by different places in Sydney. Right now, when I walk past some bars or places that we've been together, I do have vivid memories about this time, and everything holds a special place in my heart. I really love Sydney as a city, and that's obviously why I've been living here for a while. But it's funny how places and times and even music or smells, they bring you back to a place in time.
Yeah.
So
I don't know the term in English, but you know, in French we say the Madeleine de Proust.
yes, of course, yeah. I don't know the term in English either, but it's it's definitely a concept. We should look into it. But yeah, Madeleine de Proust, it's based on a kind of like a big book that has been like, it's a classical book in France, and it takes you back, like the places or the smells or whatever, it takes you back to a specific place. Yeah, love that. So going back to my Madeleine de Proust, so we were at the bar and we get a few drinks, we start talking together, and then he starts blurring some words in French, and I found that really attractive and really sexy with an accent. So I said to him, oh, careful, because if you do that again, I might kiss you. Obviously, you say that to a guy, what is he gonna do? He sees that as a dare or a challenge. So he says the French thing again, and there I go.
Obvious.
I'm like, I had a few drinks in me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kiss you. And then we kiss, and there is that thing that's going on between us, and it's nice. It feels really not magical, but there's like chemistry going on there. But the thing is, that date or that meetup was during the week, and he had a busy job. I had a busy job. I wanted to go home and have a good night's sleep and go back to the office the next day feeling fine and not hungover or anything. So I said to him, I think I'm going to have to get going. And it was really nice to see you. Let's do that again. But I need to go back and get my beauty sleep. And he was saying, well, I'll just make sure that you get home safe. So is it okay if I come with you? And like, I'll just, we'll just get in a cab together and I'll just make sure you get home. And I said to him, I really wanted to be straightforward. Listen, if you're expecting something on the first night, it's not going to happen. I'm not this type of girl. I just don't want to, I want the expectations to be straight, that there is, like, I'm attracted to you, yes. However, nothing's going to happen tonight. So you can come to my place and, like, make sure that I get home safe. But if you're expecting more,
you won't enter in my room.
There you go. It's not gonna be that easy. There is a feeling like there is something happening between us. I don't want to ruin that by being making it as easy as possible. I'm like, no, you're gonna have to work for me because I know my worth and I know that I want to explore more a deeper connection with you rather than just a fling. I've had flings in the past, and even though I'm not looking for a relationship because I know I'm here for a very short amount of time, I do want to explore something a bit more with you. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not.
Yeah, but you felt
Yeah,
that at this
exactly.
moment.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of saying like, well, and then he's very caring, very gentle, saying, well, that's okay. I understand, but I want to do that. Like, I still want to make sure that you get home safe. And I thought that was he was displaying like some chivalry. I thought it was very emotionally smart and intelligent and very caring. I was like, wow, I was kind of taken aback, and that made me emotional, and I cried. And I was like, oh my God, this is not how it should be. I'm the type of emotional girl. So say I'm going to go watch a movie or I'm going to go to an art exhibition, I might be crying in front of a piece of art or in front of a movie or for a song. So you have to understand that I am a bit sensitive, but he was not afraid of that. Like, he saw me crying and he was like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I just found it very touching and endearing that you want to take me to my place, knowing nothing's going to happen, but you just want to make sure that I get home safe.
You were like surprised, like, yeah, he acted like that.
Totally, because I had been in a few relationships before, and I have always been very independent, and the people that I had seen were kind of not necessarily caring and nice, but not necessarily going that extra mile, which Russell was doing.
They were maybe selfish.
Yeah, or just into their world, and I think Russell was more altruistic in some kind of way, and I think that's just what his personality was. So fast forward, we do end up getting in a cab because at the time I don't think there were any Ubers. So we get a cab, we get to my place, and I said to him, oh, well, do you want to come in and just we can continue and have a chat? And then we actually, like, he comes to my place and we talk for most of the night, and then we fall asleep on the couch, cuddling, like snuggling up. But nothing happens. But it was nice. It felt like there was some intimacy or connection and kind of closeness without it being too fast. And so nice, so lovely. And that's just really how it was, how our relationship was, how he was, and how he taught me to be. What I was really mindful at the time is that he lives north of the bridge. And when you're in Sydney, north of the bridge is a thing. You live below the bridge or above the bridge. And he was doing a detour to come to my place and drop me off at my place. And at the time, we didn't know whether he was to head back to his place, but obviously stayed at mine. When we wake up in the morning, I get ready to go to the office. He's got his bag. He was at the gym before meeting me, so he's got some change of clothes or whatever, so he's going to go straight into the office. But he walks me to my office first. Again, into that chivalry thing. He could have just gone straight to his office, like we split from my place. No, he did walk with me, and then he said, let's see each other again. And
Gentleman.
Really gentleman. But then what I learned after is that he's got a smaller sister. And he probably takes care of me or behave with me like he would like someone to behave with his sister.
Yeah, I can see that.
So he's very empathetic and very friendly, but also mindful of where I am, what's happening in my life, and and very emotionally intelligent. Very intelligent and very smart altogether. But that's, at the time, as I said, I was 19. So I was a baby, and he was only 3 years older, so he's 22. But you can tell there's a depth to the way that he functions, and that really is attracting me. So fast forward, we see each other a few times. One time I said to him, oh, I'd love to go and explore the Hunter Valley, and it's a wine region, about 2 hours driving from Sydney. I don't necessarily want to drive myself, but I know he's got a car, and I'm like, okay, would you like to come with? And would you like to make it a bit of a getaway together? And he said, yeah, excellent idea.
Like a romantic trip.
Totally, just like in the movies.
So at this moment, you were together? like in a relationship?
We had been seeing each other, and we were kind of in a relationship, but we didn't really formalize it. We didn't make it
Yeah.
official. We had said that we were not seeing other people, so we knew.
So you were exclusive?
Exactly. So we
Okay.
knew it was an exclusive relationship, but we didn't label our relationship. We didn't say that we were boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah. You knew that you have to leave
Yeah,
Australia?
exactly. So I didn't really want to get myself in a relationship, even though I could feel that I was catching feelings for him.
Yeah.
I could feel that I was falling for that guy because he was just an all round up great guy, and anyone could have fallen for him because he's just this amazing human being and just charming without wanting to be charming, without being a player, without being, he knows his worth, but he's not gonna, he was very humble. And that was just refreshing. Like from the previous people that I had been with, he was a very beautiful and magical soul. So we go to the Hunter Valley, and on the way back, so we spend the weekend there, a very, very nice weekend. He had organized for us to go to a restaurant, and it was a very beautiful moment. I try and spot kangaroos in the wild. We can see kangaroos in the car, so it's really cool because it's kind of like my first real kangaroos that I'm seeing in the wild. So it's like magical moments, and just like you say, just like in the movie, like a bit romantic and really cute. And then we head back to the city, and on the way, about half an hour drive from the city, he tells me, oh, I need to pop in by my parents' place. Is it okay if we go together? Are you okay with me stopping by? Oh, what do you want me to say? I'm like, I'm in the car, I can't really say anything, like, no, drop me to the station. So I'm kind of low-key and say like, yeah, sure. In my head, I'm freaking out. Like, we have been seeing each other or being together-ish for 2 months at the time. I'm going to meet his parents. That's a bit of a big step, or like...
Yeah, for you it was a big step. But
Yeah.
and you think for him it was the same, like, or it was just normal to present you?
Yeah, I think it was just like a casual, like, oh, it's
It's
just
not
gonna happen.
officially,
No,
like,
exactly. It's
hey.
just like, oh, here's my friend or whatever. But I think his parents knew that we were away for the weekend, so they knew obviously that he was seeing someone. But it was not necessarily like when you're in a couple and when you're in an official labeled relationship, when you say, oh, would you like to meet my parents? Well, you're going to dress up, or you're going to put makeup on, or you're going to do your hair. I was
Yeah.
coming back from a trip, like, it was just like, it was a Sunday. So
Yeah, it was not your best moment.
no,
to meet
I was
his
not
people.
prepared. But we got to his place, and I get to meet his parents, and his family is very welcoming, and that's just how it is. Like, his family is genuinely like great, and has been so great with me, and it's like my family away from my real home and my real family. And so we exchange a few words, and they say, oh, welcome, would you like a tea, blah blah blah, and then we just go back to the city. So that's it. I don't think too much of it, and I'm not gonna raise that as a topic in a future conversation. It just happened, and right now we're just like going as like, it's not baby steps or whatever, but we're not necessarily thinking long term. Like, we're just living in the moment and enjoying the time that we've got together. Fast forward to a day where we would exchange texts kind of every day, like, hey, how are you? Like, did you sleep well? Like, have a good night, and this type of things, like small attention. And then there's this day where I'm at the office and I haven't heard from him in a while, but when I say a while, it's I
Few
don't know.
hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's a few hours, or even the night before, whatever. So I'm like, oh, something's off. Like, I should have heard from him today. And then he sends me a text and say, hey, sorry I haven't been in touch lately. I had a seizure and I'm at the hospital. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't know what a seizure meant. So I asked my colleagues, and then they explained that it's kind of like your brain is sending an electrical shock, and your body is shaking and you're unconscious. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was concerned for him. Like, I was catching feelings for him, and I also wanted to know that he was
you
okay.
were worried.
Yeah, absolutely. I was worried, and I really wanted to make sure that he was okay. And so I texted him and I said, well, which hospital are you in? I can come and see you. What I didn't know was that he had actually been sleeping in the hospital. So the reason why I didn't hear from him the night before was that it happened on that night, and he had been in the emergency, and kind of like the doctors were checking on him, and he was going to meet a doctor later on that day. And he's like, yeah, okay, you can come, but I'm with my parents and so on. And I was like, well, okay, but I've seen your parents. So it was actually a blessing in disguise that I had met his parents before, because that was a bit of a very formal way to meet them if I were to have met them in the first time in the hospital. So he's like, yeah, you can come, but you know, like I can also like have space. And I was like, okay, but I'll still come. It was important for me to be there.
Yeah,
for
you
him.
felt like it was important to you.
Yeah.
To go see him and talk him and see what's happened and
Yeah.
how he feel and things like that.
Yeah, I want to be there for him. I want to be supportive.
Yeah.
And I think that's a trend that happened later on in the relationship. So I get there, and then something happened, and the doctor wanted to see him in the room, and he kind of broke the news that there was a mass in his brain. They would need to do maybe a biopsy or like an exam about the mass, because there would need to be a surgery about it. The mass could be cancer, could be a tumor, but they just don't know what it is. So it's a very concerning news. It's very serious. And I think everyone is taking the news, like absorbing it and being like, what the hell? What is this? What is going on? It's a shock for everyone. And I don't know how to react. I don't know anything about the medical environment in Australia. Obviously, it's a very private and very intimate piece of news. His family is around him, and I'm here, a bit like a satellite, or like, you know, I'm not part of the family unit. I've barely known him. I don't know much his family, and yeah.
And you were here when you discover this news. And
It's a bit vague. I can't remember if the doctor was around. Like, I think I was around there, and the doctor was there, but it's because it was a while ago. Fast forward, and he decides to have surgery. He gets a very great surgeon, and I think we're all very grateful for him to have been operated by that person specifically. And then it comes back with the result that he's got a GBM, a glioblastoma multiforme, and that's a rare type of brain cancer. There's not much survival rate, so we know that he's kind of doomed to have cancer and to have serious cancer and to have treatment to get rid of the cancer. We learned that the stage of the tumor is quite advanced. You've got 4 stage, and his is close to 4, so going to have a long-term illness, and he's going to need to have treatment. So when you think about treatment, that means chemotherapy, that means radiotherapy, that means he's not going to be able to work.
It's a huge
change in his
treatment.
life. Like his life is changing so much from that diagnosis. He's 22.
Really young, and
he's just starting his life. He's a graduate at a consulting firm. He works his ass off, like 60 hours a week. His entire soul is being eaten up by a big corporate. He's trying to enjoy life, and he's been traveling overseas, and, you know, like, it's the stage that you're in your life to discover who you are, what you want in life, have fun, all scrapped by that one diagnosis.
And you, at this time, when you learned what's happened and the fact that you have feeling for him, what do you think in your head at this moment?
Fuck. Like, literally, I'm like, what the hell is gonna happen? How are we gonna navigate that together? I'm here. So that diagnosis comes in June.
And you have to leave
I have to leave the country in August.
Okay, so 2 months after.
Yeah. So I'm going to be here for 2 months. I can support him for 2 months and be as caring and here for him and present for him as much as I can, because I care for him. Like, he's a friend. He's a, like, we've seen each other. He's more, obviously, more than a friend. But I want to be here for him. I want to help him. I want to be
by his side.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be a guiding light, but I want to bring some light into his life, because everything is darkness at the moment. I speak to my work at the time. So I speak to my managers and my internship, and I say, well, this is what's happening. So is it okay for me to go and spend some time with him for his treatments? In July, it was my birthday as well. So my parents had kind of gifted me with a trip around Australia. So I knew there would be 2 weeks where we would not see each other. So I wanted to make the most of the time before and after. He also decided to go on a meditation retreat for 10 days, a silent meditation retreat, and it was kind of like a bit of a spiritual awakening and so on. I was super scared when he said to me, I'm going on a meditation retreat, because I was like, oh my God, he's going to break up with me or whatever. Like, he's going to scrap all the superficial things or additional things in his life that he doesn't need, because right now what he needs is to focus on his health and kind of make sure that he's okay. But then he comes back from his spiritual retreat. It's about the time where I'm almost finished with my trip, and he says he's very grateful to have me in his life and that he's really very much looking forward to seeing me again. And I was kind of a bit relieved. I'm like, oh, great, he's not getting rid of me yet. So then comes the end of July and comes August. I have been going with him to the hospital, so I know he's kind of like, I know he's nurse and I know he's doctor and I know he's surgeon, and so I'm familiar with that world now. And so when I go back to Europe, if he wants to speak to me about his treatment and everything, I'm gonna picture in my head where he goes, who he sees, what are the conversations and so on.
You can understand.
Yes, exactly. I'm familiar with it all, which is actually helping in my understanding, my awareness, and my me being supportive, because then I've got all the elements to help him out.
I think it can help you a lot to know that what happened, who are the person around him, like that,
Yeah,
so
it's a reassurance.
If you're really far, you can just know that where he is and what he needs. So that was really nice for you.
Yeah. So it was nice for me to have a bit of a background or overview of what was happening before I had
to help him.
Exactly.
And to be here for him.
Comes the time where we're going to have to leave each other, right? I'm going to have to go to the airport and I'm going to have to pack up my things. I need to leave my flat, and he offers me very kindly, his family said, you can come and stay with us for your last week. So I stay with them. So I live with them for a bit. So it's really nice, and I get to know them as well. And I get to know, like, I'm feeling okay that I'm going to leave him, because I also feel like I'm deserting at a moment that is very crucial in his life, but I have to get going with my own life. Before I left, I had a ring on my left hand that I was constantly playing with, and he really liked that ring. He was seeing, like, it was a part of me. I had that ring for probably about 5 years. So it was a very much like, it was almost fixed onto my finger. It was not moving, and it was something that was really important to me. It was gifted by me when my grandmother passed away, and it was her engagement ring or something, like a very meaningful ring for her. And my grandma was kind of like very protective of me, and when she passed away, I had a bit of a hard time without her. So I always had her close to me, my heart, my hand. So she was always there for me. I decided to give him that ring. And so I buy a necklace, I put that ring on the necklace. It's funny because a couple of days before we had the conversation, I said to him, I'd like to be Facebook official. At the time it was a thing. And I could sense that he was not really into it. Like, he didn't really wanted that to be published. And like, he was a bit of a private person. Fair enough. Like, he didn't want it to be official. But going back to what are we? Are we a couple? And blah, blah, blah. So my very feminine or like side was like, whatever, you don't want that, okay. But I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to push too much in that direction. So I'll let it go, and then we'll see when I'm in Europe or whatever what's happening. But for me, it was a bit of a reassurance. Like I would have liked us to be Facebook official or whatever, so then people know. And he can't really flirt with other people or whatever. Well, he can, but like I don't think that would be that type of guy. So 2 days after I give him the ring, and then that's kind of like an obvious moment for him. He's like, okay, well, he was obviously very grateful, and he was like, oh, you sure? Like, no, it's a really important thing for you. I was like, no, that's fine. Like, he's like, but that's a family heirloom. And I'm like, yes, but I want to give that to you because that ring has protected me so far. And I want that ring to protect you now. I'm not going to be able to be with you. I want that ring to be a token of my appreciation towards you, a token of I am here with you, and I'm sending you good vibes anytime. And if you need anything, I'm just a phone call away. And he's very appreciative of that gesture.
It was really meaningful for him.
Yeah, so meaningful that literally like about 10 minutes after he makes us official on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm like, does it really take that? So it was very fun because it was that exchange, right? I give him something, not expecting anything in return, but because he's receiving so much love, he wants to give that love back. And again, that's our relationship. Our relationship is always, I'm giving, you receive, you're giving back. And it's just
It's
a
like
healthy
balance.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
balanced relationship. It's a healthy relationship. We're growing together, and we're lifting each other up through hard times. And what I really thought, and what I didn't realize at the time, but I really thought that we were learning and growing together as individuals and so on. But going through a hard time when you're in a relationship really is a testament of how strong your relationship can be. If you're able to go through a disease or a passing of someone, a loss of job, or like loss is a very hard concept for the human brain to understand because we take life for granted. We think we're always going to be healthy. We think our job is going to be fine. We think the people that we love are always going to be here with us because we're all immortals. No, we're not. But that's something that I've learned with Russell. And so we've got that great relationship going, but I have to head back to Europe. So I head back to Europe, and the plan is I say to him, you've never been to Europe, you've traveled overseas. Would you like to come when it's Christmas? Like, let's see each other in 6 months' time. I'd love to be able to show you France around and show you maybe other places of Europe. I was headed back to Europe because I was going for a year of exchange in the UK. So I was going to live in the UK. So if he were to come and see me in December, he would come and see me in the UK, and then we would head back together to see my family in France. So he would at least go to 2 countries, and then we could go and explore other places. And he's like, yeah, okay, sure. I'd love to do that. I just need to make sure I've got a medical clearance that my doctors are allowing me to go and fly and whatever.
Yeah, because it's a long way.
Yeah, it's a long way. And also we need to make sure that he doesn't have more seizure.
Yeah.
Because the reason why he was having seizure is because the tumor was putting pressure on his brain. And when you put pressure, the way for the brain to decompress is to send an electrical shock.
Yeah.
And then it gets better, but it's not really a safe way. Like, you lose consciousness, you can fall, like there's so many things. So he had
that's impressive too.
So he had like an anti-seizure medication, and then he was still going under chemotherapy. The radiotherapy was kind of finished when I left, but there was still a lot going on. And as much as he wanted to make plans in the future and go and travel, it was up to his medical state and his level of healthiness.
So you start a relationship by this distance?
Yeah, so we're now officially in a long distance relationship. So that long distance relationship is going to happen for about 3 years until the point where I come back to Australia. Okay. So we see each other at least every 6 months, at least a minimum of every 6 months. It's hard for us, but we speak every day. There's At the time I had a BlackBerry, and you can have like BlackBerry messages, and then I moved to an iPhone and we could do FaceTime. So the technology is improving
Thanks,
with
technology.
us. Yes, thank you, technology, because it's like, imagine if it was like 20 years back and
By
I would,
letter.
yeah, exactly, would send letters or whatever. But no, we've got Skype, so we can Skype and so on. The only thing that's really annoying us is the time difference. Because if he wakes up, then I'm sleeping. If I wake up, it's the end of the day for him. So we just need to make sure that we're coordinating well when we're going to catch up. But
So you live in two different time.
yeah, exactly. Like he lives in the future and I live in the past, kind of. There is that level of when we are together, we've got a physical close nest and we're intimate and we're very close. But when we're apart, we have to talk about things, and we have to make sure that if we get upset at each other, we need to quickly change our mindset, or we need to quickly be able to communicate about what we're not happy with, because we can't really be mad at each other for a week because we're losing that exchange time.
Yeah.
So it's a very mature type of relationship, and we really, like, I don't think we really ever get in. I get annoyed and I get cranky. He rarely gets cranky, but sometimes I'm like, well, you could have told me that you were not available, whatever. But it's just like coordination, so we get better at it. And then he comes to the UK. So he comes and visit, first time in England. We have the best time. Like, we spend Christmas with my family. I decide to surprise him and we go to Venice.
So romantic.
Yeah, a bit of a romantic trip together. I'm at university in England, and all my friends are aware that he's sick, and they're also very nice and welcoming with him. But then we go on, he goes back to Australia, I stay in the UK, he comes back in summer, then I go back for winter. So yeah, there's like back and forth, and we're traveling. Up until 2013, where I decide to officially move to Australia. So I finished my studies.
So 3 years later?
3 years later, I have finished my studies, because the first time I came to Australia, I was in my second year of undergraduate degree.
So and you moved for your last year of
exactly.
master.
Yeah, exactly. So I have exhausted my visa, my working holiday visa, the first time I came to Australia. So I'm looking at other options to stay in the country lawfully. So I'm going to come and do a student visa. So I'm going to come and do my master's in Australia. That's going to buy us time to see if we can live together, if we can be a real relationship, and maybe explore a de facto visa, which is a relationship visa, and then we'll see how it goes. My plan is to come to Australia and maybe stay for 1 or 2 years, maybe 3, and then the plan is that he's going to learn French, and then we go back to France, and then he can work or speak and kind of like practice his French in a real kind of life situation, and then maybe we head back to Australia or whatever. Like, I don't know where I want to live. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I know that I want to be with him and I want to be near him. And whatever happens, if we are together, everything is going to be fine.
Yeah.
But life happens. And so I do my studies. My first semester is going well.
In Australia.
In Australia.
So at this moment, you live together.
Yeah, so we're living. So I moved for the second time in Australia, and that's where unknowingly I become an expat, because I'm never going to go back to Europe from that point onwards. So February 2013, 3 years after I came for the first time, I decide to migrate to Australia and move to Australia temporarily, but it became permanently. And I start my degree, and I study at university, and we move in together and we live together like a couple. I feel like we're really in that adult relationship. I've become an adult.
It was not so difficult to move from a long distance relationship to a moving together.
Well, it was a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah.
But we were just so happy to see each other. And
after 3 years.
Oh my God, after 3 years, yeah. And he came for Christmas 2012. So we had already spent 2 months together.
Okay,
but we had spent 2 months together traveling with my family or other places. So
it was not like a big
big
gap.
change. Yeah, exactly. We were slowly easing into it. But I think the difference was that we were making our own place. We were making our own home. So we were kind of like nesting, like the birds, like you make your own thing. So that was nice because we were making decisions together, like what fridge are we going to get? Or, well, we actually got a fridge that he already had. But like, it's kind of like an exciting phase, like when you're moving together. And it's the first person I'm moving in with. He has already moved with his previous girlfriend. So he's kind of lived with someone.
Yeah,
So
new.
so
Okay.
I'm kind of like, I'm learning from his experience and I'm loving this life because, oh my God, we've been waiting for so long to be together and we're finally together. And then during the weekend, we're going to visit his family for Sunday dinners or Saturday dinners. And it's really nice to have that time and getting to know more his family as well. Because if I get to know more his family, then I'll get to know more about him.
Yeah.
And then they're going to tell me stories about, silly stories of things that,
Yeah.
or show me like old
Yeah.
pictures and so on. So it's really
Yeah.
cool. And so life goes well. It's beautiful. It's magical. We have so much fun. We do a housewarming party. We invite friends. Like, we're really settling in this life. Second semester, emotionally charged. He regularly goes on appointments to his doctor because he's got regular checks to see how it's going. He's officially in remission. Everything is looking up. Everything is looking bright. It's positive. We're out of that darkness or that cloud over our heads. Usually when he goes, he sends me a text saying all clear. Like the all clear is after the MRI. That day, he's usually pretty relaxed when he go, or, there might have been a bit of a level of worries like ahead, like the night before, whatever, but he's just like, it's part of the routine. It's a routine thing now. That day, I get a call from him. I know he had been to his appointment. And if I get a call from him, I know it's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So he calls me and he's got a flickering voice and he tells me it's back. And I don't really know how to react because I don't know, is it back like a lower grade or is it back a high grade? Is it back, where is it back in the brain? Because the brain is a very complex organ. There's very much different functions. He hadn't been, having headaches or seizures and so on. So there was no warning signs for us to pay attention to. So we're going to have to, he's going to have to go see doctors and his nurse and whatever. So I'll try and go with him, but maybe his family is going to go with him. It depends on our calendars and so on. Like, I'm studying part-time and I'm working part-time at the same time. So I have a heavy calendar and like busy activities. And he goes and it's back. And we don't know if it's curable and he's going to have to go for treatment again. And it might be worthwhile for him to have surgery. Great. We're in this again, but that's okay because it's fine. We're going to make it work. We've been through it. It was successful one time. There's no point. Like, there's no reason it's not going to be successful another time. Well, I was probably a bit too optimistic, probably naive. I remember the first time he told me he had cancer. For
No,
me.
I think you have faith. Like,
Yeah, you do have
can't-
faith. Yeah.
you can't act like, oh, it's down. Or
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
let it go.
Think that it's doomed and it's finished and it's like the end of the world or whatever. No. So yeah, we keep faith, but he's going to have to go and do another surgery. It's in a more tricky position in his brain. He's going to have to take chemo. He's going to have to take anti-seizure as well. And his state is slowly deteriorating. I can see there's like different changes. So he does the surgery. It goes well. The surgeon, so Russell would be in a ICU, intensive care unit. After, it's kind of like the recovery and after the anesthetics, they're going to wake him up slowly. But then the doctors comes and speak to us and say, well, it was in a very different, like, tricky location of the brain. I'm not sure if he's going to be semi-paralyzed. And I was like, what is going on? His surgeon was very known. His surgeon's name is Dr. Charlie Teo, and he's very much known to be a bit of a daring person in terms of surgery. He tries things that other more traditional doctors would not try. And that's the reason why Russell chose to have Dr. Theo doing his surgery, because he wanted to give himself the best chances in survival. So he wakes up. He's not as paralyzed, but that's okay. It's December and he's getting better by February. February, my mom comes. We go on a trip, the three of us, because I want my mom to discover Australia. That's her first time in Australia. And around Valentine's Day, we go to Hamilton Highland and Whitehaven Beach. And so a very, very beautiful, like the Whitsundays Island are a very beautiful place in Australia. And I'm kind of expecting I'm coming up to the end of my visa. I'm finishing up my master's. So my student visa is going to run out. I need to be in a visa with him. We're going to have to do a de facto for me to stay in Australia, because the plan is for me to stay a bit longer in Australia. So I'm kind of like, I've moved across, I've moved my life across for him to be with him, but for him as well. So I'd like to have a bit of a ring. I'd like to have a bit of an engagement.
Proposal.
Yeah, proposal, please. I'm not necessarily asking for it. Like, I'm not begging on it, but
wish.
Yeah, one of my favorite stores is Pandora at the time. And so I take him to Pandora and I'm like, oh, look at this ring. It's cute. Oh, look at this. It's cute. And interestingly, I don't show him bracelets or earrings. I'm showing him rings. Like, I'm sending you a subliminal message
earrings.
here. Yeah, I'm like, hello. It would be nice to have some kind of, thing. Like, yeah. So we go to Hamilton Islands and the Whitsundays, and then we fly back to Sydney, and it's Valentine's Day. On the day, I had given him a card and a little gift. I can't remember what it was, but it was just like a small thing. Nothing from him. I was so pissed. And my mom was like, oh, come on, he's a guy. That's okay. He probably didn't think about it. I'm like, we're on a trip to a paradise place, and he's not even like getting me like a flower. I was just a bit like, come on, you could have done better. But anyway, that's just me having like high expectations. But he's exceeded all my relationship expectations, so I really shouldn't really take that against him, like hold it against him, because he's done so much more. Like, he's not very much a gift giver, while I am. So I just need to readjust my, mental state. Yeah, my love language. Well, yeah, at the time my love language was gift giving. It's not anymore, but I'm still very much I like to give little gifts to my friends and my family and my partners.
Attention.
Yeah, just to show I've thought about you. It's not a big thing, but there we go. It's like a little thought about you. So anyway, we get back to Sydney. I think he's learned the lesson, because the next day, so we get back home. The next day, I've got a bunch of flower on the table in the living room, and I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry for yesterday. I didn't give you anything, but you really mean something to me, and this relationship is really a lot, and I'm so ever grateful that you are here for me. And I was like, oh my God, I felt like a bitch. Like, I was like, oh my God, yesterday I was just like being too dramatic for something that's not really super. That's the relationship we're in, right? He's always bringing perspective to me. He's always putting things, and I'm just like, oh yeah, he's got that big picture. He's taking me into the big picture. And I'm too much caught in details and small things and whatever. And I'm just like, oh, yes, that's right. There's this and that and so on. So anyway, he gets me a bunch of flowers, but a couple of days after, we're having dinner with his family, and he stops the music for some reason, and we all thought, his sister thought that he had a headache, and like I was like, oh, he stops the music, okay, maybe he doesn't like the music anymore. No, he's actually getting on and like down on one knee, and he's gonna propose, and I don't realize, and I look at him and I'm like, what is he doing, his shoelace? No, he's not. He's actually got a ring and he's proposing, and I'm like, what the? And I always thought I wanted to have a proposal with everyone around me looking at me and like being the center of attention, although that proposal is a very intimate moment. We're with all families. My dad is not here because he's in France, but he has asked my dad whether he can, like, I'm asking you her hand. Again, chivalry, gentleman, up until the end. He's obviously proposing, and obviously I'm going to say yes. I'm beyond the moon for him just asking that. And my mom's like, oh my God, this is like, everyone is so happy for us. My mom goes back to France, but when she's still around, I was like, okay, let's go and try wedding dresses. And she's like, whoa, 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 you're going too fast. And I was like, well, yeah, but when's the next time we're going to see each other? And if I want to try a dress with my mom, might as well do it now. And she's like, yeah, okay. So we go find we go and we find the dress that I want, and I'm beautiful, and my mom is really emotional, and then I decide to get that dress for, you know, in the future. And then my mom flies back to France, and so March comes. At the time, Russell was doing a clinical trial, so we go and see his nurse, and his nurse said to me, do you want to go for a walk together? And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. During that walk, she tells me that even though they removed the tumor, it was fine after the surgery, the treatment is not improving his state. It's actually the tumor is spreading, and he's not responding well to the treatment, and he doesn't have much time left. She's kind of telling me, like, from based on what we saw in the past, he probably has 8 weeks left.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's weird for me to know that. And she kind of tells me, you're going to have to talk about that with his family and decide what you want to do. You're probably going to need to start thinking about having assistance and care at your home. So maybe have a nurse come and help. He might not be able to walk as much. You might notice different changes in behavior because the pressure of the tumor on his brain. At the time, we decided to push forward the wedding. So the wedding was meant to be the year following, but we decided to make it happen in May.
Okay.
So we are working towards the detail and getting the venue and inviting people, but we're going to scale down the wedding. We wanted to have a wedding with 80 people. We're going to do a wedding with 12 people. Everyone in my family is excited. My dad is getting people to send me messages, like kind of like cards and whatever. Like he's going to bring that with him when he comes for the wedding. I can see living with Ross that his body is not functioning. It's not 100%. We're deciding to stop the clinical trial because if there's no point doing adding substances to his body if it's not working. We live in a townhouse, so we live on 2 levels. He's gonna struggle to go up the stairs, so we need to readjust our living arrangements. So that means we decide to move back with his dad. And we move back with his dad. His dad works from home, so that works, and he can look after him, and I can look after him, you know, night or whatever. And it's a really difficult time because he was very strong mentally, but he's just a bit upset at himself. Like he can't do things, like, and he doesn't have as much appetite.
Because he want to do something, but he can't. So
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Yeah.
He can be here for you as he wish.
Yeah, so it's a bit tricky, but you know, like we're in this together. We're gonna make it work. I changed plans for the wedding because I'm the one kind of doing the logistics and so on, and then I ask him for some things and so on. So we go pick his costumes, we go pick the rings, I pick up the flowers, and so everything is ready up to the point where we again need to push the wedding forward. Or we actually need to change the location of the wedding because he's not going to be able to travel. We wanted to go to Palm Beach. We're not going to be able to do the wedding in Palm Beach. We're going to do it local because we don't want to put him in a car, like for him not to be comfortable and so on. So we moved the wedding, and also we had nurses coming to the house and so on, and then his medical team said, I'm going to have to make him go to the hospital, and he's going to have to go to a palliative care hospital. Palliative care, for people that don't know what it is, it's you're assisting people with the end of life. The medical journey comes to the point where you're trying to assist and you're trying to save someone or have surgery or treatment and so on. And then there comes a point where you can't do treatment. So you just want to make sure that this person is comfortable in their end of life. They're nearing passing away. We do the wedding. It's such a beautiful day. It's a funny day as well because we forget the rings, but it's close to the hospital. So his best friend take off his shoes, run towards the hospital, which is like about like, I don't know, 800 meters or whatever. So we're in Wahroonga. He is in Neringa's hospital, which is kind of like the palliative care hospital there. And in Wahroonga, there's a beautiful park, and we get married under the rotunda. It's a beautiful day of May. We get married the day before anniversary, so it's a meaningful date for us. My sister-in-law is walking me down the aisle. My father is too busy filming and recording with his, digital recorder or whatever. So it's really funny. And he sees me walking down and he cries. He's in a wheelchair at the time. He can't stand anymore. He's too weak for that. So he's in a wheelchair. It's not the wedding it's not my dream wedding or my princess wedding that I had imagined when I was a kid, but it's exactly how I want it to be. It's got all the people that I love. My best friend has flown from France. My godmother, who's also my auntie, has flown from France. My parents are here. His family's here, and everyone that we are really close and have been with us throughout the relationship are here. I wish we had more friends around. I wish I had done an engagement party or a wedding in France, but I can't control that. So I'm just going to focus on what I've got, and what I've got is already sufficient enough. And I'm already so pleased that we're able to make that day happen. And so he cries when I walk down towards him, and I'm like, no, please don't cry, because you're gonna make me cry. I'm gonna become emotional. And I don't know if he was teary because he was really happy and emotive to see me in a white dress and like pimped up, kind of, because I had done my hair, I had my makeup, and I'm a very natural girl, and I usually don't wear makeup, I don't do my hair, I'm not a very fashion person, so I am a plus version of myself. Like I'm looking really good. But I also don't know if he's, because he's realizing that we don't have much time left together. I don't know if there are tears of joy or sadness or mixed feelings. And I'm never going to ask that question, because I think I just want us to enjoy the moment. Yeah. Then we go to the restaurant. My dad does a long speech that he's translated from French into English. And I think we're all like, when is it going to end? Let's have a drink and let's have fun. And he's laughing. And there's photos of him where he's exchanging like looks with his best friend, saying like, oh my God, this is a long speech. And it's so funny and it's so sweet. And then we go back to the hospital, and my dad has brought lanterns for us, and there's that beautiful photo that I have where I'm lighting the lantern, and it goes, like in Thailand they do that, and then it goes in the sky, and it's kind of the symbol of that all love is going up above, because all love is gonna go up above. He's gonna be gone soon, and I just don't know when, but that's a very imminent thing that's going to happen. So I better prepare myself. I can't tell him that he's going to be gone, because no one at this point has told him that he's very close to the end. I think he can feel it, but we're not really raising that topic. And because of the difference in culture, in France, it would have been way common to discuss that and say, you're gonna die soon. But in the Anglo kind of culture, what I'm picking up is that we're not really talking about emotional things. So I'm kind of, I want to talk about things, but no one is. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to see what everyone's doing and so on.
You follow what people do.
Exactly. I follow the lead of everyone else, because I'm kind of the outsider. I'm not the outsider anymore. I've obviously been welcomed into the family, and I'm not necessarily an integral part of the family, but I'm embedded into the family. And so I kind of cruise along and I see what others are doing, and I'm being influenced by that, and I follow that pattern or that spirit or mindset. So we get married on a Monday. The next day, Tuesday, the doctor that is in charge of his treatment is saying, we're going to stop steroids. So the steroids are the medication that are decreasing the pressure in his brain. But the steroids also have a huge toll on the body, and that changes a lot your appetite and the way that you think and so on. So it's not sustainable to have steroids a long time. And again, we're in that phase where we want him to be comfortable. So we're going to stop medications that are not necessarily needed. Friday or Thursday, we wrangle all the people that he loves, and they come and kind of say goodbye. It's hard. In between that time, so in between these few days, we receive the photos from our photographer. So we show the slideshow when people are coming, and they're all very emotional because they're very grateful that we went through that. And the friends that we're inviting were not at the wedding, so they haven't been able to share that great moment with us, but we wanted them to be involved in some way. It's hard to see him like this, but I hold on his hand and I tell him I'm going to be here for him, and I'll always be here, and I'm sharing that moment with him.
So yeah, you've been with him until the end.
Yeah, I'm with him until the end. We're married, but we've been married for 11 days. So the day he passed away, it's our 11-day anniversary or whatever. So it's a very short wedding. It's a very short marriage, if I may say. The day where he's gone, my mom was still around. My family had gone back to France, but my mom stayed around because she knew it was coming, and she wasn't working. So she thought I could need the help when that time would come. And it was very precious to have her as well, because she was a bit of, like, help me standing up. And she stays in the hospital the night before he passed away. I don't know why, but we decide that she's going to stay in the hospital that day. I can't remember the reason. But then in the morning, she wakes me up, and she's clearly disturbed. She's clearly stressed, and she's sad about something. And she tells me he's no longer breathing. I'm like, wow, no, Mom, that can't be right. I think you're just tired, or you just woke up and you just had a bad dream. So I go to him, and that's where I realized that we're all very mortal, and we don't realize that. And the beautiful soul that was in his body is gone. Sorry, I'm just being a bit emotional here. And so I call his dad calls his mom, his siblings are coming, and we say goodbye. And as much as you can prepare yourself to say goodbye to someone, as much as there was that, there is a notion that a friend taught me, it's anticipated grief. So as much as I knew that death was coming, I was still not face it in front of me. You're
never prepared.
No, exactly. You're never prepared. I think the hardest part for me to deal with that was the after. The topic of death is such a taboo thing in our culture, whatever it's in the Anglo-Saxon culture or in the European culture or the Latin culture. No one wants to talk about death, but we're all going to go through it. Like, let's just be realistic. And I think what the perspective that has given me is that I want to live my life to the fullest. I want to be as cheerful as I can. I want to be in control of my happiness, and I want to bring happy vibes to all the people around me. I want to be entertaining. I want to be fun. I want to have a great career. I want to travel lots. I want to be able to have the best life, because I live my life for myself, but I also have to live my life for him now. I don't believe in heavens or afterlife or whatever. I hope that it's happening. But I want to believe that if he sees me, or if he's looking after me, or if he's watching after me and being my guardian angel, I want him to know that I'm doing fine, and I am living life for two people instead of one person, and that nothing is going to bring me down because I've got him on my shoulders, because he's going to lift me up even though he's not here anymore.
You have him in your heart.
I have him in my heart. He's never going to be forgotten, and that's what I'm always sad when anniversary dates are coming, because there's about half of my friendship group, if not more, like my really strong friends and my really close friends, have known me after Russell, so they've never met Russ, and they've seen me struggling in relationship and not necessarily be happy, because I had the happiest relationship but I've lost that. So I'm proactively looking at having a new relationship that's healthy and that's as positive as that relationship was, because as much as I can tell you that we went through shit together and we went through negative moments, we had so much positive moments, and everything that I remember now, nothing is negative. It's just they were all life lessons. And what he really made me realize is that love is really everywhere. It's not a romantic relationship, it's a friendship, it's a family relationship. It's about caring and being supportive about someone that is close to you, or that's not necessarily close to you. It's you being a caring individual. That's the definition of love. That's my definition of love. And it's also the small acts of kindness, and it's the energy that you bring into a place or a room. That's it. That's what I learned. And I think the one thing that I really wanted to say is that he taught me about love. He showed me how to love him. He showed me how to love myself. But most of all, he taught me how to love life and make the best out of it. And that's really the biggest lesson that I've had in that relationship. Now,
That's so beautiful what you say. I have a question, like 10 years after this deeply moving and touching story, what advice would you give to someone experiencing a grief like you had?
yeah. So it's grief is very difficult because it's gonna take there's an academic or like a research concept that says that grief has 7 stages, and it's a curve. It's a J curve. It's called the Kubler-Ross curve, and usually you go through denial, depression, bargaining, and getting back up. There's a few different other stages in there, but that's the most curve about it. I would say take your time, because healing is not something that you can proactive about, like being proactive about healing, and you can do things that are around self-care, but there are going to be moments where the grief and the sadness and the bereavement is going to come straight in your face, and you're not going to be able to realize what's happening, because it's just your brain that's reactivating a part, and it's your subconscious, that's your memory that's working through something. So for me, it has happened with a smell or music. There is sometimes I hear music in a shopping center or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, that's a song that we had with Russell, or that's a song that Russell liked. And sometimes it's the smell of something. Like I still have one of his perfume bottles, and when I go through a really, really difficult day, I spray one pit of his fragrance, and that calms me down. But I do it very scarcely, because I also know that the smell associated to him now is a sad smell. It's he's gone smell. Now, so I'd say take your time, look at that curve, look at that concept, because that's going to help you realize where you're going through and what you're going through things. And I'd say take care of you. It is a bit of a roller coaster, and the emotions and feelings will come without warning. And you may not be able to control how you react. So sometimes it's just ride it out. It's kind of like you're caught in a storm. There's nothing you can do. Just sit still, and it's gonna, everything, these too shall pass. That's what they say in English. It will become better. There is always, like, if you're going through a moment of darkness, light is gonna be there. If you're going a moment of light, like it's very luminous, there's going to be darkness. So always think that there are gray, like there is a notion of gray world. And if you're really happy, just be mindful that you're really happy. If you're really sad, just be mindful you're really sad, and it's going to balance out towards the end. I think be surrounded by people and find someone that you can speak with, whether it's someone that is a professional or someone that is a friend or someone that's not necessarily aware of it all. Sometimes talking about it is very therapeutic. I did it a lot in the early stages of my grief. Now I rarely speak about it because it's part of me, it's part of who I am, but I don't want...
It makes you.
Yeah, it totally makes me. It's a piece of my puzzle, and it's a big piece of my puzzle. It's still a big piece of my heart, but I've learned to make peace with it. And I don't want to divulge that relationship or that side of me to people because it can also make them uncomfortable. People, as I said, death is taboo, but it shouldn't be. It is part of life, and I wish sometimes we could speak a bit more about it because we would realize how much precious life is and how much valuable it is and how much fragile it is. And I think, I guess, one of the things and one of the lessons I would like to share with people that are listening to us is that your health is paramount. Your health is the most important thing that you have in your life. If your health is not going well, nothing else is going to go well. So your relationships are not going to go well because they're going to be affected by that. Your work is not going to go well because you're not going to be able to be as focused or as productive as you want to be. And I'm saying that today with a bit of a scratchy voice. So tonight I'm going to rest and I'm going to take care of my health because I don't want to have a cold or I don't want to have something else. And we've seen that, after COVID, like people were realizing that their mental health or their physical health was really important. And I think we're really headed into a good direction where people are talking about mental health. People are talking about being supportive. There's things about are you okay days or like where you talk about how you're feeling. And I think we should be a bit more kind of in tune with what's happening in our lives and be kind to ourselves. And I think from a cultural side of things, I didn't really touch enough on this in our conversation, but I think the English people are not necessarily speaking enough about their feelings. And I think it's really important to talk about how you feel, because when you talk about how you feel, that helps you process what your physical responses are to some of the psychological things you're thinking of. And so for me, speaking about it can be a sad moment, but because I've had so much 10 years is a long time. I've had a lot of time to process the trauma, because it was a trauma and it has been a trauma. So I've had so much, so 10 years is a long time. I've had so much time to process and kind of live through the trauma and getting used to it. I'm fine now. I have moved on and I am a widow, and it comes with a deal of emotional baggage, but I have built that emotional self-awareness and emotional intelligence that I need to take care of myself sometimes when people are pushing me to my limits, or when I'm not happy about things, then my emotional intelligent response is going to be take care of yourself. You can only control what you can control. Take care of your health and be kind to yourself, but also be kind to others. You don't know what battles they're fighting. A lot of people were maybe judging me at the time where I was not responsive by messages and not being present for my friends. But because I had so much to deal with, there's only so much bandwidth that I had in my brain. Now I try and be a bit more caring and supportive with friends, because we all have difficult lives and we're all going through different moments. So I think that's, kind of it for me. I think there's also something very briefly that I'd like to touch on. It's the sense of guilt. When you lose someone, you have a sense of survivor's guilt. Why am I here? Why am I more worthy of living than the other person? Well, it's something that you should discuss maybe with a professional or like look into. I think how I was sad after losing him was that my love was strong, but it didn't save him. And let's be realistic. If love could cure diseases, it would. But it was a bit of a naive way to think that love can conquer it all. But I do think that love can warm up people's life. And that's what I would say. Like, be healthy, be loving, be caring, and don't be judgmental towards other people or towards yourself. Write it out. And the world is a beautiful ocean. Sometimes it's rocky, sometimes it's calm. What is going to help you in life and what it's going to help you making you resilient is that you just need to learn how to be in that water, immersed with your emotions, but also immersed by the environment around you. And your emotions are things that you can control. The environment around you is things that you can't control. So learn to deal with both of it and seek help, whether it's reading books that people have talked and talk about things, or whether it's speaking with people, your friends, your family, or professional psychologists. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Lucien, to share with us, and thank you for your moving sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was really important. Your message is really important, and I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah, and I think, if someone is being a carer at the moment and caring for someone that is going through a health issue, the best you can do is listen to them and not trying to influence them in doing something. It's just like guiding them as much as you can. Like, sometimes I wonder if I was a boy to Russell that he would hold on to, or if I was a guiding light and like a bit of a lighthouse. I think just try and be there for them, and that's all that matters. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Bye.